Hello and welcome to episode 33 of Game Patrol. I'm your host, Landon Plumley, and we've got another solo week because with the holidays, people are busy. I completely understand all that fun stuff, but I will always make time for you cuties over here on YouTube, Spotify, or whatever it is you are using to consume this content right now, and thank you for doing so. And so, last week, I did my 2020 wrap up. Be sure to listen to that if you haven't already. Just talking about the best games of the year, the worst games of the year, and, just wrapping up the year in general. And now we are looking ahead to 2021. First off, Happy New Year. We're not quite there yet. Happy New Year's Eve, I guess I should say. But, tomorrow is 2021, and yeah, let's look ahead. So next week I'm going to do a specific, like I usually do, with the December wrap up and January outlook, specifically. So look at, December, which saw some really, big releases like, Cyberpunk and Immortals Fenyx Rising, and, look ahead to January specifically. But this is sort of a broad overview of all the games to look forward to in 2021 that we know of thus far. And, just kind of, get excited for all of that. And so, get into the games coming this week, which, again, as I mentioned last week, it's still nothing. It's New Year's. Nobody wants to release a game right now. Again, currently, the next real high-profile release is still currently Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game Complete Edition, which is not until January 14th. There are a couple games coming out before that. I believe the first of which comes out January 7th. But, with the holidays and all, nothing's launching, and I don't blame them. And so, catch up on all the games in your backlog, because I know I have hundreds. And so, not a lot coming this week, but getting into the gaming news this week. Again, also pretty slim pickings, but there's some interesting stuff that happened this week that I'd like to get into. So first off, the PlayStation Plus games for January 2021 were announced, which includes Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Greedfall for PS4, and Maneater for PS5, which I'm really interested in. I think I might actually do some coverage on my YouTube channel / Twitch channel of this game, because I feel like the PS5 version specifically of Maneater, I haven't heard much coverage of it specifically, or really of the entire game in general. I think it kind of flew under the radar. People who played it had a lot of fun with it, and so I'm excited to check this out. But they will be available from Tuesday, January 5th through Monday, February 1st. And it is important to note that the PS4 version of Maneater is not available in this round of games. Previously, you were, like with Worms Rumble, it was available on PS4 and PS5, whereas Maneater is only available on PS5. So you cannot play the PS4 version of Maneater for free with PlayStation Plus. You are only getting the PS5 version, which also, if you do not have a PS5, they still have it in effect where you can reserve these games. So when you do eventually upgrade to the PS5, you will have all of this stuff. So be sure, if you are planning on getting a PS5 at some point and yet don't yet have one, if you want to check out Maneater at some point, you can still claim it, and it will be added to your library and ready to go as soon as you get your fancy schmancy shiny new console, which I heavily recommend because it's really great. I just know it's very difficult to get, and so I understand if you don't have one yet. But yeah, so the reason I continue to point these out is because right now, to be fair, Xbox has Game Pass, and so, that is by and large the best deal in gaming. But, as far as games for gold, when you compare it directly to PlayStation Plus is killing it. Games with gold, they got announced for January, and the big one that I personally think is Little Nightmares, which is a really great game. But, they haven't been giving out free Series X/S games yet. And, most of the Series games are available with Game Pass, so I understand why. And again, when you're looking at free games offered by companies, Microsoft is definitely offering way more because of Game Pass. But, when you're just looking at these, multiplayer subscription free game offerings, Sony is definitely more enticing. But, like I said, Game Pass is amazing, so, definitely don't want to discount that by any means, and it's definitely the better, deal. But then looking another week, another time of Cyberpunk 2077 news. So CD Projekt is now being sued. There were some rumors about this happening, and so it is happening. So the lawsuit from Rosen Law Firm claims that CD Projekt had made false and or misleading statements and or failed to disclose that Cyberpunk 2077 was virtually unplayable on the current generation Xbox or PlayStation systems due to an enormous number of bugs. So this is specifically talking to investors. They misled investors. And CD Projekt has come back and said that they will, quote, undertake vigorous action to defend itself against any such claims. So they are denying they have done such, which is absolute BS. And so we've talked about Cyberpunk plenty on the podcast about, the thoughts with all of this corporate stuff. But I quoted a tweet about this exact topic, and I will basically reword what I said because that is, still my stance and will most likely always be my stance in this entire, for the situation. I really, really hope that this ends with a complete restructuring of CD Projekt's corporate structure. I think everybody that was involved with the decision, I don't think necessarily everybody in that corporate structure should do this because not everybody may have been involved, but everybody involved with the situations of like the crunch and, pushing this out and telling, all the misleading and everything, they should be fired. They should, not work at CD Projekt Red or, really any other company. I mean, everybody should get a second chance. So I don't want to necessarily say any company, but like they should not be working there anymore because they have ruined these developers' lives. I would go so far as to say, I mean, these developers are getting death threats for something that's not even their fault. And, I feel for them so much because they poured their heart and souls into this game and it was completely out of their control. This garbage fire of a launch, it's 100% corporate's fault. And so, I want everybody responsible to lose their jobs because they deserve it. Like, I try not to wish bad things upon people unless it is deserved. And this is definitely deserved because when you make people work 100-hour weeks for months on end and still have it, say it's okay to release in an unfinished state after there's so much hype and these developers are very passionate about this project, you're scum. You are absolute scum. And so I hope they lose this lawsuit. I hope they lose. I hope that, there is a huge corporate restructure because from everything I've heard about this, it's all corporate. I have heard very little, there's been some controversy surrounding Cyberpunk specifically about, stereotyping, be it, race or that sort of thing. And so, I can't speak for the devs to say whether or not they are, angels of society or anything. But when it comes to this horrific stuff, corporate is 100% responsible. And I hope that they are persecuted to the full extent of the law, or at the very least fired. And so I was happy to hear that this is happening. And, I at least hope that the devs get justice. I hope that people, and then they are slowly beginning to understand. But I just hope that CD Projekt Red can make it past this, because CD Projekt Red, they are the developers. CD Projekt is the publisher, the corporate entity. CD Projekt Red specifically is the developer. So I hope they move past it. I don't want CD Projekt to move past it. I want CD Projekt Red to move past it because they don't deserve all of the negativity that has spawned from this. And I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I love Cyberpunk 2077. I think it's an amazing game. I can't wait to play it when it becomes more polished. I haven't tried out the newest hotfix yet still. Hopefully maybe try that out tomorrow, ? But yeah, I still have yet to try out the newest hotfix. But I'm going to keep doing that. Like, I'm going to keep checking up on this game because I absolutely love it. and I want to see it succeed because there are some truly amazing things going on in the game that no other game does, and it's a really, really great RPG that I love, and so I hope that we get to see some cool stuff here. But yeah, so moving on. Nintendo and Reggie Fils-Aimé had to, quote, politely decline an offer to work with Kanye West on a game. So apparently, Reggie had an interview in his Talking Games with Reggie and Harold podcast with Nintendo Everything. And he said that many years ago, apparently Kanye West came up to Reggie at an E3 booth and tried to pitch a game, but they declined. Basically, not necessarily because the idea was bad, but just because of the amount of other projects that were going on. I mean, especially big companies like Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, they plan out their projects pretty far ahead of time because they are this big, massive entity. And so, there's only so much wiggle room. And of course, there is wiggle room. You look at things like probably, I would say Splatoon probably was not something that they planned out super, super far ahead of time. Someone had a really good idea and they said run with it. And, but things like, I don't know, Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, of course, like those are planned out, long, long before and that sort of thing. So, there is some flexibility, but not enough where if Kanye West approached you and says, hey, I have a video game idea, you can be like, oh yeah, we'll just put it in there, put it in the sketch. So I just thought that was hilarious to think that we might have gotten a Kanye West Nintendo game, like Kanye West making a Mario game or a Zelda game. That would have been, God, that would have been something. That would have definitely been a thing. Wow. So yeah, that was potentially a thing that's not happening, and I feel like that's for the better. But then we got Steam has revealed the top selling and most played games of 2020. They gave out a bunch of statistics this week. So the top sellers category features platinum, gold, silver, and bronze tiers, but Steam doesn't detail what amount of gross revenue is needed to qualify for a certain level. And so the platinum releases, this people who use Steam regularly, this is not a new thing. They do this. They've done this for the past few years now. But the platinum top sellers are Among Us, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Doom Eternal, Dota 2, Fall Guys, Grand Theft Auto 5, Monster Hunter World, PUBG, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. So CSGO, Dota 2, GTA, those are not new news. Even PUBG. Siege, I think Siege, this might be peak for Siege. I feel like it has been on the list before, but maybe not platinum tier. So I feel like this has probably been Siege's best year yet, at least on Steam. And so I'm really happy for that because, I have some friends that are really, they really love Siege. And again, I have commitment issues with games. I don't play a lot of games that regularly, but I enjoy the time that I've spent with Siege. I think it's a really fun game, and so, good for it. But, we also, again, we got things like Among Us, Cyberpunk. Doom Eternal, I'm super proud of. I did not think the game did as well as it did, so to see that it's one of the best-selling games on Steam for 2020 made me really happy because I always thought Doom, like the new Doom games, were severely underappreciated. And so it's good to hear that my fellow PC brethren have been enjoying Doom Eternal, or at least buying it. I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily mean that they enjoyed it, but it's good to hear about that. They also had a top new release section, which is kind of confusing to me, but it's measured by gross revenue, but aren't broken down into any special categories besides the top games and by month. So I would assume this is just like the biggest launches this year, the ones that sold the most, like right at their launch. And so we've got Baldur's Gate 3, Borderlands 3, Command & Conquer Remastered Collection, Crusader Kings 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Death Stranding, Doom Eternal, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, FIFA 21, Football Manager 2021, Grounded, Half-Life Alyx, Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, Mafia Definitive Edition, Marvel's Avengers, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, Persona 4 Golden, Resident Evil 3, Sea of Thieves, Star Wars Squadrons, Temtem, The Outer Worlds, and Vulcan Lords of Mayhem. I've actually never heard of that last one. All the rest of these I've heard of, but that's interesting. But yeah, so I think it's, pretty diverse list there, and those are some of the best launches on Steam in 2020. Then we got the most played category, so this is measured by highest peak concurrent players, and the top tier includes games that reached over 200,000 peak players. And so those include Among Us, CSGO, Cyberpunk 2077, Destiny 2, Dota 2, GTA 5, Life is Strange 2, which is nuts. Like, that was one of the top... Okay. Monster Hunter World, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, PUBG, and Terraria. So, yeah, Life is Strange 2 is definitely an interesting one to put, like, over 200,000 people were playing that game at the same time at some point this year. That is nuts. That is actually nuts. I'm sure it was on the low end of that spectrum. Like, I'm sure, because this list includes, it's just anything over 200,000. So I'm sure Among Us, I think it was, like 500,000? Is that what they said? I could be 100% wrong on that. So that's much higher than 200,000. I feel like Life is Strange was probably scraping the barrel there. But even so, like 200,000 people playing that game at the same time, that's not even multiplayer. It's just, 200,000 people happen to be playing it at the same time. That's nuts. But yeah, so we also have the early access grads category, which is filled with games that left early access and were sold very, very well this year. So 10 games made this list: Deep Rock Galactic, DJ Max Respect 5, Factorio, Golf with Your Friends, Hades, Noida, Risk of Rain 2, Skater XL, Torchlight 3, and Vulcan Lords of Mayhem. So yeah, I've heard of maybe about half of these games. But, yeah, Hades, of course, just absolutely phenomenal game. I've heard really good things about Risk of Rain 2. So, yeah, we got some good early access games, launching finally in 2020. It was a good year for that because a lot of early access games, they kind of entered development hell, like DayZ. Like, I don't know when that game is ever going to finish. So it's nice to see, some games actually finishing up and being received well. And so then we've got the best of VR category. And so we've got Arizona's Sunshine, Beat Saber, Blade and Sorcery, Boneworks, Half-Life Alyx, Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades, Pavlov VR, Pistol Whip, Super Hot VR, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim VR, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and VR Kanojo. So I will say something about Saints and Sinners. Get this game. It is very, very underrated VR game. If you don't have the capabilities of getting Half-Life Alyx, get Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, because it is available on every VR platform, including PSVR and Oculus Quest. So do not sleep on this game. It is really, really fun. I think the Move controller compatibility on the PSVR is kind of crap, but I've heard very good things about the Oculus Quest version, and I'm actually, I think I'm going to pick it up here soon, because, yeah, it sounds awesome. But, yeah, the tracking gets kind of wonky on PSVR, so I will say that. But, it's still an amazing game. Next up, we got their top controller games, which is interesting. So these are the top games that support controllers. So I guess this is for, console players that just got into PC gaming. They're like, here are your games for 2020. So we got Cyberpunk, Dark Souls 3, Destiny 2, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Fall Guys, FIFA 21, GTA 5, Hades, Monster Hunter World, 2K20, Persona 4 Golden, and The Witcher 3. So, good to see that The Witcher 3 is still selling like hotcakes. Love that. So yeah, those are all the top games on Steam. Not a whole lot of surprises, but again, there were a few curveballs, definitely. But it's always interesting to see all that sort of stuff. And also, when in our whole top statistics 2020, Google has released their top trending searches of 2020. So I have both the worldwide stats and the US stats. And so I thought we would take a look at the top games searched. So worldwide, at number 10, we've got some sort of thing that's written in Mandarin that I can't read. Number 9 is Call of Duty Warzone. Number 8 is Animal Crossing. 7, FIFA 21. 6, Ghost of Tsushima. 5, The Last of Us 2. 4 Genshin Impact, 3 Valorant, 2 Fall Guys, and 1 Among Us. So Among Us was the most searched video game in the world in 2020, which is not really surprising, but yeah, I'm honestly surprised that Valorant is number 3. I mean, I guess worldwide, I feel like it probably had more of a worldwide appeal, but I'm surprised Valorant is as big as it was. But also The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, both huge games for the year. So it's good to see that. Meanwhile, when we go over to the US, number 10 is actually Jackbox, which I think is really cool. They just aren't losing steam, and those are just fun games. I tried out the newest one not too long ago, and it's pretty fun. But number 9 is Madden NFL 21. Number 8 is The Last of Us 2, actually lower than the worldwide, so that was interesting. I would have expected it to be higher, honestly. Number 7, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was not on the worldwide list. 6, Animal Crossing. 5, Ghost of Tsushima. And then from here on out, it's the exact same. Genshin Impact at 4, Valorant at 3, Fall Guys at 2, and Among Us is the number 1 game in the US as well. So, pretty similar, but some interesting, interesting place movements, and Assassin's Creed and Jackbox are more popular here in the US, which makes sense. I don't even know about Jackbox availability in other countries since they use the servers and everything. They probably are available, but maybe not like everywhere, which would make sense. But yeah, so those were the top game searches of 2020. Not a ton of surprises, but some interesting statistics there, and it's I think they're interesting to look at. But without further ado, let's look at all the games coming out in 2021. So I have a list of, I believe, 42 games that are scheduled to release in 2021, although 2 of them are officially scheduled to release in fiscal year 2021, which means Q2 of 2021 into Q1 of 2022. So 2 of these games have the potential to launch in 2022. And all of these games could potentially be delayed out of 2021. And I guarantee some of them will be, especially with COVID. But, this is what we've got. So the first big game to release this year comes out on January 20th, and that is Hitman 3. So it is the conclusion of the World of Assassination trilogy. I'm excited to check it out. I think the Hitman games are really cool, really fun, and, it's also going to have PlayStation VR support. It's I think the second game to only have support on PlayStation VR and not on PC VR. The only other one I can think of is Resident Evil 7. And so I'm not exactly sure what sort of if they have some sort of deal with Sony or whatever, but it's gonna have an exclusive VR mode, which I thought was weird because it's on, they said that they would have support for PSVR through PS4 backwards compatibility. So do you have to run the PS4 version of the game to run it in VR, or will it work on the PS5 version as well? I thought the way they worded it was really weird, and so I'm curious to see how exactly that works. I have my adapter for the PlayStation VR. I haven't used VR on the PS5 yet, but Hitman 3 may very well be the first time I do. But yeah, so that's certainly interesting. Then on the 28th, we've got The Medium, and so that game is going to be the newest, Bloober Team game, which they just came out with the game actually for the PS5 and Series X/S, and that was Observer System Redux. So they came out with their remaster of Observer, a game they came out with a few years ago. But this game is a fully next-gen experience. It is only on Xbox Series XS and PC, so not coming to PS5 or Xbox One. And that is because it is running 2 instances of the game at the same time, as you are split between 2 worlds. And so it looks really interesting. I'm excited to check it out. It's also going to be free with Game Pass. Then moving into February, we've got Outriders on February 2nd. Was originally supposed to come out last year, but has been delayed a few times. But this is basically Destiny meets Mass Effect, and it looks very, very generic, but the production quality is super high. Will it be the next Marvel's Avengers? I don't know, but, it is definitely going to be one to look out for. It's made by People Can Fly, which were the developers of Bulletstorm, which was kind of a cult classic, a little bit in a sense. And so I am very interested to see what this will do. Then on February 12th, we've got Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, which honestly, I wouldn't be shocked at all if this game got delayed, because we still have no idea what Bowser's Fury is. So this is a re-release of 3D World from the Wii U onto the Switch, but it comes with a brand new expansion called Bowser's Fury. But we have no idea what it means. We don't know if it's going to be like, is it a brand new world? Is it, like a new mode? Like, is it like multiplayer? Like, what exactly is this? We have no clue. They still haven't said anything, and it is less than 2 months away. So I don't know. Like, Nintendo has a history of not telling us much before the game is out, so I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get delayed, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. So, yeah, it's very curious that we still have no idea what this new expansion is, but that's coming. It's going to be cool. I will most likely pick it up, because 3D World is awesome. And I know someone who bought a Switch specifically for this, so they are very excited. Then on February 25th, we've got Riders Republic, which is the people who made Steep. So it is Ubisoft Annecy. You know what I'm trying to say. They're the people that made Steep. This is their next game. Basically kind of similar in a sense, about just a bunch of extreme sports. So you can, go dirt biking or snowboarding or, all sorts of different sports games that don't necessarily get their own, yearly franchises nowadays. It's not your 2Ks or your Madden or your FIFA. It's all the other sports, just a combination of all of those. And so, for sports enthusiasts out there of, extreme sports, this could be something potentially interesting for you. Then on February 26th, the day after, we've got Bravely Default 2, which was originally supposed to release sometime last year, but then got pushed. But this is the long-awaited sequel to the hit 3DS game Bravely Default. Had a demo come out a little while back, and that was really well received. And so, Bravely Default is a highly, highly, highly rated game, and now we're finally getting a sequel. We did get Bravely Second, but this is now the second of the Bravely Default game, and it's more Bravely. It's brave. It's a very brave game, and so if you're a fan of JRPGs, it's exclusively on Switch, February 26th. And then at some point in February, we'll be getting Destruction All-Stars. I'm willing to bet it will be February 2nd, because they said that it would launch in PlayStation Plus, and February 2nd will be when we get the February games for PlayStation. And the fact that they just said February leads me to believe that unless it absolutely has to be pushed back, be like delayed a couple weeks or something, it will probably be February 2nd. But Destruction All-Stars is one of PlayStation's first-party titles that was supposed to be a launch game, but then got pushed back just about like a month before the console came out, I believe. It wasn't too long before it shipped. But it was delayed into February. And so we don't honestly know a ton about this game. It kind of reminds me of a mix of like Rocket League and Twisted Metal, maybe, sort of, kind of. I don't know. It looks interesting. I think that moving to PlayStation Plus was 100% the move, because I don't think a lot of people would have picked this up, especially since it's a full $70 game. So I think that was definitely the move, especially being multiplayer focused, to really get an audience on there. So I'm excited to check this one out, especially since it's another first party game that, is exclusively for the PS5. So I'm hoping it'll utilize a lot of cool features, especially with the DualSense. And so I'm hoping that this is actually going to be a standout hit that we don't expect. I am excited for it. I'm fingers crossed that it's really good. Then into March, on the 19th, we've got Returnal, another first-party PlayStation game from the makers of Resogun, which was a absolute smash hit at the PlayStation 4 launch. So this is a game that's basically like Groundhog Day in space, where you play as a woman who has crash landed on this alien planet and relives the day of the crash over and over again. And so when they showed off the gameplay at the Game Awards, it was the Game Awards, right? Yeah. I wasn't super impressed by it. Like, it seemed kind of like generic sci-fi shooter-y to me, But I also know Resogun is an extremely good game, so I have faith in the developers. So we'll see. We'll see if it happens. We'll see if it's good or not. I will most likely, be playing this game, so it'll happen. But mostly because I'm just excited to play more PS5 games, like games built for the PS5, because it seems pretty set in stone that this is not a cross-gen game. I would think they would have announced it by now. But yeah, that's coming out on the 19th. Then on the 26th, we've got It Takes Two, which is Josef Fares's next game, the maker of A Way Out, which is my favorite co-op game of all time. This is very similar, in which you have to play with another person, and you don't worry if only one of you can afford the game, because if one person has the game, they can invite someone to play with them, and then they can download the game and be able to play without having to purchase the game themselves. And so this one is very tonally different from A Way Out. So this is about a couple that are in a relationship that have been transformed into dolls, and now they have to find their way out, find their way to, go back to normal while also working through their relationship issues. So it sounds really, really cool. I'm really excited to see where this goes, and I loved A Way Out so much. I love Josef Fares, so I'm very excited to see what he's been working on. So that comes out March 26th. Also on the 26th, Monster Hunter Rise, which is a Switch exclusive follow-up to Monster Hunter Worlds. Now, I say that it is very different. It kind of goes back to the Monster Hunter Generations look. It's not this huge open world MMO-ish RPG like Monster Hunter World was, but it is running on the RE engine, which is nuts that can run on a Switch. But it's got some really cool things. They've added grappling hook. They've added a lot of cool new things, and so you can sink your teeth into a brand new full-fledged Monster Hunter game. This isn't a spin-off. This is the next mainline Monster Hunter game that is exclusively on Switch on the 26th. Then at some point in the Q1 of 2021, we'll be getting Roller Champions, which is a game I've been super excited about, but it just keeps getting delayed. And so this is going to be a free-to-play. Basically, if you've seen Alita Battle Angel, it's like the one thing it's like Motorball, basically, where you are rollerblading around this arena and trying to you're holding this ball and you have to get it through so many times, and then it gets reset when the other team gets the ball, and it's kind of like a new sport type of thing. It's like I said, it's similar to Motorball from Alita Battle Angel. That's all I think of when I see the game, but it's going to be free to play. It looks really cool. It's made by Ubisoft. I'm really excited. So it's supposed to come in Q1 of 2021, but I wouldn't hold your breath because it's been delayed a lot, and I'll believe it when I see it at this point. But that is supposed to come out then. Also in Q1, Ruined King, a League of Legends story. I have never played League of Legends at all. Don't know that I ever will. But this is a much more narrative-driven spin-off of League of Legends. So that in itself has me excited because, I'm more narrative-driven myself. I do like some competitive multiplayer games, but I love a good story. And so I think it'd be cool to kind of dig into the LoL lore, if you will. And so that is coming out at some point in the beginning of the year. Then May 21st, moving ahead a little bit, we've got Deathloop, which is Bethesda's game. This will be the first game, depending on when Microsoft finishes up the buyout of Bethesda. This may be the first game that Microsoft publishes. Well, technically it will be Bethesda publishing it still, but it will be, Bethesda will be a subsidiary of Microsoft. And so this may be the first game, and it's interesting because it won't be on Xbox. It will, launch exclusively on PS5 and PC on May 21st, which I'm really excited about. It's the developers of Dishonored. I was kind of lukewarm when it got announced, but I thought that the latest couple trailers for it have looked really cool. And I say lukewarm just because Dishonored is one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely loved it. 2, I think I was just way too overhyped for, and so I think it just couldn't live up to the massive just standards I put the first game at. So I know a lot of people love 2, but I was kind of disappointed by it. I would like to go back because I feel like I didn't give it a fair chance. But ever since then, Arcane Studios, I played some of Prey, but I I just didn't really feel it. And so I'm excited to see what Arcane Studios has come up with. I think it's got a lot of similar feel to Dishonored, and I like the premise of it a lot. I think it's got some cool stuff, so I'm excited to check that out. And then this is rumored to be released on May 25th. We've gotten Xbox store listings that have been removed, but officially it's supposed to come out sometime in fiscal year 2021. That is Far Cry 6. So originally this was supposed to come out in February, then it got delayed because of COVID, and so, but the rumor around the block is that it's supposed to come May 25th. But this game looks absolutely stunning. It stars Giancarlo Esposito as the main villain. It's Far Cry. That's all you really should need, because it looks incredible. I'm really excited. Every Far Cry game has been really, really fun. They're just fun open world shooters that are just, they're a fun time to be in. And so I'm excited for this, and you should be as well. Then on June 22nd, we've got Back 4 Blood, which is literally Left 4 Dead 3, but without the brand. Like, this is a shameless, Left 4 Dead 3. It's from Turtle Rock Studios, the developers of the first two games, but, Valve owns the rights to Left 4 Dead, so they just made their own game. And from what I've heard, it's really, really fun from people that got access to the alpha. And so it's coming June 22nd. It's got everything you love about Left 4 Dead. And, they're back, baby. They're back. And so I'm excited to check this one out. Then, at some point in the second quarter of 2021, we've got Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, another delayed game from 2020 that I love the Lego Star Wars games. I'm really excited to see what they come up with. I thought the last one, The Force Awakens, was really well done. And, I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of the complete saga. I played that on the Wii all the way back in, 2008. And, it was, one of my favorite games growing up, so I'm excited to see this complete collection of the Skywalker Saga and see all the cool things they do with it. So, it's also, I feel like it's been a while since we've had a Lego game. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's been a while. I feel like they've been quiet for a little while, but yeah, I'm excited for this. Also in Q2, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and you bet your ass I'm going to be playing this because I love Mass Effect, and I already said that I would buy Trace a copy because it's amazing, and he hasn't played it all, and I'm just excited to have a playable version of Mass Effect 1 again because, my God, that game is hard to go back to, and if the rumors are true, they're doing some good work on trying to bring that up to modern standards, so I'm very excited to see what they've come up with for it. So I'm excited to replay the trilogy in its entirety because I've replayed 2 countless times, but I've only beaten 1 and 3 once. So I'm excited to just do a full replay of the trilogy. So yeah, I will definitely be picking this up. Very excited. But also in Q2, New World, which is it was one of 3 games that Amazon first announced they were making back in 2016. And the other 2 were both, they both got canceled, and they were just kind of were dumpster fires. And this one has gone through multiple delays, but they're like, hey, it's still here. It's coming out. But yeah, it's an MMO. Personally, not my cup of tea, and it just doesn't sound like it's going to be that good, but it's coming apparently. So there you go. Also, at some point in the first half of the year, we've got Gran Turismo 7, which is PlayStation's Forza game. That's just basically, I know Gran Turismo came first, but Xbox kind of took over the racing game industry in terms of, exclusive consoles. And so, Gran Turismo 7, I'll be interested to see. It looked absolutely gorgeous when it was announced, so I'll definitely be interested to see how it turns out. But yeah, this is their kart racer, the newest installment, showing off the capabilities of the PS5. It's supposed to come at some point in the first half of the year. Also in the first half, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, another PS5 showcase game, sequel to the 2016 Ratchet & Clank, but also canonically a sequel to, what was it? Ratchet & Clank Tools of Destruction, was it? It was the last one before, or I don't even know if it was the last one before Ratchet & Clank. Honestly, the timeline's really confusing. But, people were really impressed with the tech going on in that game. And I'm also impressed with the fact that Insomniac was working on both Miles Morales and this game. So that's supposed to come out at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if this game got delayed, because it seemed like they did a lot of extra work on Miles and Spider-Man Remastered. So I wouldn't be shocked if this game got pushed into the fall, which I'm perfectly fine with, because Miles is an incredible game, and I'm perfectly fine just hanging on to that for now. Pun not intended, because that was kind of a weird... it was like, oh, it was okay. And so then at some point in Q4 of 2021, we're supposed to get a new Battlefield game. EA hasn't said much about it, but, you know, they said that they would be skipping. Typically, we would have gotten a Battlefield in 2020, but they were like, nah, we're skipping this year, and we're going to take next year and just fully be able to take advantage of next gen. So I'm excited to see what they come up with, especially after Battlefield 5 was pretty underwhelming to a lot of people. I never checked it out. I thought Battlefield 1 was pretty cool, but Battlefield 5 just didn't really seem to do anything to shake up the series. So I'm interested to see what they come up with now to try to, you know, do something new. I'm hoping that that's something that they can do. Then also in Q4, which if it's not November 12th, I don't know what's going on, but Halo Infinite is coming out. It was supposed to come out last fall, but didn't happen. It got delayed because of Craig, because the graphics were not good. And so they were like, okay, fine. I really hope they cancel the Xbox One version, especially after the Cyberpunk. Just give people a reason to get the Series X, because there's no reason right now. But yeah, I mean, if it comes out on the Xbox One, okay, whatever. But yeah, I'm really excited for this game. I really hope, like, I want this to be a win for Xbox. Xbox needs a win so badly, and so I really hope that 343 just knocks this one out of the ballpark. And so I'm definitely excited to see all the new stuff that they have in store for us with Halo Infinite. But that comes out next fall. Also in the fall, Lord of the Rings Gollum, which looks like a heap of garbage graphically, but I love the narrative design that's been going into it that they've shown us thus far. I like kind of the psychological aspects they've got digging into Gollum and Smeagol, I forgot his name for a second, and just kind of like his, you know, split personality disorder and really getting into the psychology of it all. I would not have thought that a Gollum game would be interesting, but they've done it, and so I'm really, really curious to see more about this game and just dig into what it's all about. Also, at some point in the second half of the year, we're supposed to get the next-gen upgrade of GTA 5, and the reason I say that is because, you know, this is the third generation of consoles this game is being ported on. It's not even a I mean, yes, it is getting touched up, so it could be debated whether you would consider this a remaster, but, you know, we're getting just another next-gen version, and will I pick it up? Probably, but it'll be interesting to see all the bells and whistles they put on the next-gen versions, but they will be coming out at some point in the second half of the year. Also in the second half, Horizon Forbidden West, which is another cross-gen game. It is supposed to release on PS4 and PS5, but that is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, a game I have played like 3 or 4 times but never beaten, and I need to beat before Forbidden West comes out. But yeah, this game looks really cool. I love Horizon. Like I said, I'm just bad at beating games, so I need to jump back into that one. I really do. But that's, you know, the sequel's coming out at some point in 2021. And then the rest of the games all have TBA 2021 releases. We don't know when. So we've got Chorus, which is that game that got announced at... I don't even remember when it got announced, to be honest. It was a while back. But it was this year. But it's the weird one where it's like Titanfall, but instead of like a Titan, like you're friends with a sentient ship, a spaceship that you fly, and so yeah, you have a bond with this thing. I don't know, it looks interesting, but that's coming at some point. Crossfire X was supposed to come out this year, but got delayed. It's the campaign that's being done by Remedy, so it's a military shooter that's really, really popular outside the U.S., and so we're finally getting it here. It's coming out on Xbox exclusively, so that's supposed to come out at some point. Evil Dead the game which I'm super excited for because I love the Evil Dead franchise, especially the show. So I'm excited to just have more Evil Dead content. It looks like it's kind of a Left 4 Dead-esque game, but it was kind of hard to tell from the gameplay trailer. It got revealed at the Game Awards, so just recently. But that is supposed to come out at some point this year. Ghostwire Tokyo, another Bethesda game that is coming exclusive to PS5 at launch and PC. But that is being made by the developers of The Evil Within. And so we haven't honestly seen a ton of that game still. But I'm excited. You know, I love cyberpunky games and all of that. And just I like seeing new IPs from, you know, bigger developers. I like to see them try out new stuff versus coming out with the 17th game of a franchise. And so I'm interested to see what they've got cooking up with that. Then we've got God of War Ragnarok. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, what more is there to be said? It's more God of War. God of War is one of the best games ever made. I'm excited for this. Hell yeah. Then we also got Gotham Knights, which is one of my most anticipated games of the year because it looked really, really cool, and I'm really excited. I'm more excited for this game than for Rocksteady's game, the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. And if you would have told me I was more excited, hold on, words form them. If you would have told me a year ago that I would be more excited for WB Montreal's DC game versus Rocksteady's, I would have laughed in your face. But that's just where we're at now. I'm so excited for this game. It looks really cool. I'm excited to play it in co-op, like just get it like Bakel to get this game, and you know, the two of us just run around Gotham together. That sounds super freaking cool. And so yeah, I'm very, very excited for this game. Hogwarts Legacy, which is the Harry Potter RPG we've dreamed of. It's difficult to tell what the game is based off of the trailer we got at the PlayStation 5 showcase a while back. So I don't necessarily want to say, like, I don't want to put all my eggs in this basket and be like, this is going to be amazing. But I didn't see anything that necessarily turned me off. It's difficult to see what kind of game this is based on the trailer we got. But my hype is there. So, Harry Potter RPG, finally, give it to me, inject it in my veins. And so, No More Heroes 3, another 2020 delayed game, is supposed to come out at some point this year. The first two games hit Switch earlier, and so now we'll get the third installment at some point. I would wager this is a safe bet since it, you know, was supposed to come out last year. COVID delayed it. Another game, Open Roads, which it's an Annapurna published game. That's about all you need to know. Annapurna, any game they put out, I mean, What Remains of Edith Finch, Journey, The Pathless being their most recent. They are such quality indie titles. And so this one is from the developers of Gone Home in Tacoma. So really well established, and it's a very narrative driven game. They've got an all-star voice cast, and so that's supposed to come out at some point in 2021. I'm really excited for it because, like I said, Annapurna Interactive, every game they've published has been a banger, and I love them dearly. Like, What Remains of Edith Finch is one of the most underrated games of the entire generation, and one of my personal favorites, and I really, really love The Pathless. I think it's also a very underrated game for this year, and so you should definitely check it out if you are a fan of Breath of the Wild. But yeah, very, very good games. And I know this, you know, different developers, but all of the Annapurna games all kind of have, you know, that just really well-polished indie game feel. Like, I trust Annapurna. Like, if they are publishing this game, I know it's of quality. So, yeah, I'm excited. Then also we've got Psychonauts 2, which has been in development for God knows how long, but that is supposed to finally come in 2021. The sequel to the game from 2005, so it's been 16 years now, but we're finally getting that sequel, so that's exciting. Also got my boy Resident Evil Village. I'm so excited for this game. I loved Resident Evil 2. I loved Resident Evil 7. I played like an hour of Resident Evil 3, and it haunts me. And, you know, I'm very excited for more Resident Evil. I love this franchise. I'm really excited to see what they're doing with this new one. And, you know, if they come out with a VR mode, hell yeah. Just, yes. And so, yeah, that's supposed to come at some point. Shadow Warrior 3, which people are... There is a really dedicated fan base for the Shadow Warrior games. It's not super big, but they all love it. It sounds like my cup of tea. I've never played, but they sound super cool. So I'm excited. The next installment's coming out at some point this year. Then we've got Shin Megami Tensei 5, the game that's been in development longer than I've been alive. That's not true, but it feels like it. It's finally coming out at some point in 2021. I wouldn't hold your breath, but they're saying it's coming this year. This is literally the series that inspired Persona. Like, Persona is a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, and you would not know that. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. But yeah, we're getting the fifth mainline installment. Meanwhile, we got the fifth Persona game 3 years ago, the spin-off, and now we're just getting the fifth game of the thing it's spun off of. But, it's whatever. But we also got Stalker 2, which we just got an in-engine gameplay teaser that was exclusive to IGN yesterday, I think. Yeah, it was yesterday morning. But that's supposed to come out exclusively on Xbox Series X and S and PC at some point in 2021. And so if you're a fan of the Metro franchise, I think you'll definitely be down for this game. It looks really, really cool. It seems like, they're really digging the post-apocalyptic setting. So yeah, that's supposed to come out at some point. Then we've got Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which my hype just keeps steadily increasing. It seems like a fun mix of Dishonored and Vampire. Yeah, I'm excited for this game. I didn't think I would be, but I am. And I was very sad when it got delayed out of 2020. But that is supposed to come out at some point in 2021. Then we've also got Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, which is the Vermintide crew. Another kind of Left 4 Dead-ish fantasy game. So that's supposed to come out at some point in the year. Another Xbox exclusive. And then Rainbow Six Quarantine, the spin-off of Siege that is also kind of Left 4 Dead-ish. That is supposed to come out at some point in the fiscal year 2021. And so those are the big games coming in 2021. We've got a lot to look forward to. And, there's rumors of a Switch Pro coming out. Maybe we get the second PlayStation VR. Hardware-wise, we might get some cool stuff in 2021 as well. And, we're really going to see the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S develop, as, more developers get their hands on it. We'll get to see some really cool things coming out, especially given the, first party. So I'm really excited. I think 2021 is going to be a great year for video games. We're going to see a lot of really cool stuff on these new consoles. But before I move on, I do want to list really quickly my top 10 most anticipated games. Like I said, these are the biggest games coming out, but these are the ones that I'm most excited for. Number 10, we've got Halo Infinite because again, I really want to win for Xbox. Number 9, we've got Deathloop. It's just out of my love for Dishonored. I can't not put an Arcane Studios game on my list. Number 8, Back 4 Blood, because Left 4 Dead 2 is one of the best games ever made. 7, It Takes Two, because of my love for A Way Out. 6, Evil Dead the game, because like I said, I want more Evil Dead content. 5, Lord of the Rings Gollum, for what I said earlier about I'm just really excited to see what they do. It's more out of interest, more so than I think this game is going to be Game of the Year or anything. I'm really curious to see what they are doing with Gollum. Number 4, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Again, I just keep steadily getting more and more excited for this game. Number 3, Resident Evil Village. I love Resident Evil. Number 2, Gotham Knights. Please be good. I'm so excited. Honestly, my main concern with the game is if it's buggy. I feel like it'll be a fun game. My main concern is just bugs. I feel like that's going to be the biggest issue, the biggest hurdle for it to get over. So as long as they don't rush it, I feel like it's going to, and I don't think they will. I feel like this has been in development for a long time. They've been teasing it for 3 years with the stupid Quarter Owls crap. And so that was stupid, but I'm very excited for this game. So very, very excited. If it were not for God of War Ragnarok, my most anticipated game of the year, Gotham Knights would 100%. And I'm not really convinced that Ragnarok's even coming this year. So for all intensive purposes, Gotham Knights is my most anticipated game. Because I think there's a fat chance that Ragnarok makes it in 2021, especially with COVID. But if it does, that's definitely my most anticipated. But if not, Gotham Knights, I cannot wait to play you, and I am very excited and anxiously awaiting. And so those are my most anticipated games of the year. We've got a bunch of games to look forward to, so let me know, what games are you excited for, down in the comments over on YouTube's. But before I get out of here, talk about the games I've been playing this week. So we've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I actually had a date. I've had a couple dates actually this week, and so we've been playing some more, those type of games. And so like we played Super Mario Party, that sort of stuff. I love Mario Kart. She talked a heck of a game, but I still clobbered her. So I can't just not show off my skills. I'm too good at that game. I'm too good. But Super Mario Party, I did get my butt handed to me. So I will admit, I'm not one of those that gets butthurt about that sort of thing. I admit defeat when I am defeated. But she was also extremely good at Beat Saber. That was also not my forte as well. I love Beat Saber, don't get me wrong. But we did play some Beat Saber, and she was extremely good at that. But yeah, so I played all of those. I played some more Sackboy, which again, please do not sleep on this game. It's such a good co-op experience. Go get this. Like, if you aren't getting a PS5 anytime soon, pick it up on PS4. It runs perfectly fine over there too, and it's just such a fun co-op game. It is PlayStation's Mario, and I really hope that they make a sequel. Like, I really hope they keep this going, because it's so much fun. It is so much fun. I cannot recommend it more. I also played some Demon's Souls, which I felt really bad because I had some family members over, and they were like, yeah, let's play Demon's Souls and like switch over every time one person dies. And like, they were so much better than me. and like, we got through, we caught up and went past where I have gotten in the game, and I had like 7 hours in the game, and we got past that point in like an hour and a half. Like, nothing made me feel worse about my gaming expertise than that. But it was really fun. It made me realize that the royalty class is maybe not as glamorous as I thought it was. But anyway, then we played some Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which just continues to be more broken on PS5 every time I play it. So, like, this time, it didn't crash, but every time we finished a zombies match, it would like break the menu screen. Like, we'd have to back out to the main menu and then reload zombies, because it would just like the formatting would be all screwed up, and you couldn't navigate it at all. You had to go all the way back out and go back in. Like, I don't know what was the issue, but that game, like, overall the gameplay is solid. Like, I have seen no performance issues in terms of frame rate. But, in terms of, like, invisible players and that sort of stuff, when it comes to split screen and just, intermittent crashes, it's just doesn't work super well on consoles. And I hope that gets fixed pretty soon. But, when it plays, plays well, it is really fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, it is one of the most fun Call of Duties I've played in a while. I don't want to necessarily say the best, but it is the most fun I've played in a while. I've had a lot of fun with this Call of Duty, but it's got some issues. Then I actually just rolled credits on Miles Morales here. I believe it was yesterday, I think. Either yesterday or the day before. And the game is not perfect, but I love it. I think there's so many special moments. I think the representation in that game goes beyond maybe any game ever. Representation of African Americans, of Latinx communities, of the deaf community. I loved that. Like, my favorite character in the game is Haley, who is deaf, and so she uses sign language to communicate with Miles, and then Miles also knows sign language, and he is very respectful of her, and I love their interactions, and I ship them. I know, like, I don't want, like, people to be like, like, why do you have to make everything about, like, sex, blah, blah, blah. And that's not what I'm necessarily trying to do. I just think they would be perfect together. So I ship Miles and Haley. They should get together. I don't know if that's a thing in the comics or not, but it should be. And so just throwing that out there. I love it. It wasn't even, like, a sexual tension or anything. I just think that they're perfect together, and I think they're adorable. So that's just what I'm saying, Yeah, like if they become best friends and nothing happens, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I would be super happy if they got together and got married and had 17 wonderful spider babies. And so, that's just my thing. But yeah, really, really love that game. My biggest issue with the game, it is so, like, maybe it's not, like, I haven't looked this up to confirm, but I swear they didn't have a single person that wasn't white writing this game, because my God, they stereotype. Like, there's a comment that one of the characters makes to Miles about moving to Harlem, and it's like, they're like, you need to get out in the community, find a barbershop, go shoot some hoops, like, just stereotypical black people things. And just, like, there were so many lines in the game that were just stereotyping black people, and it was, like, borderline racist, and I was like, how did this make it in the game? And then, this is a problem in many games. I saw someone point this out on Twitter, and it really started making me think about it. So I don't think Miles is nowhere near the first game to do this, but I just started thinking about it. Video game writers don't understand code switching at all. Like, if someone is Latinx in a video game, they will just be speaking Spanish when it doesn't make any sense to do so. Like, they will be speaking to someone who clearly only speaks English, and they full well know they only speak English, and they will be talking to them in Spanish. Like, that is not how a bilingual person speaks. Like, I literally took a class in linguistics this past semester, so, like, I just finished studying this, and that's not how code switching works. And for those who don't know, code switching is basically when you're in different environments, your brain naturally kind of switches to the right dialect or language to communicate. So that's why a lot of times people will act differently depending on the people they're around. So that applies to both, dialects and accents and certain vocabulary, as well as just entire languages. So if you're around people who speak Spanish, your brain will naturally kind of switch to Spanish if you are bilingual, versus English, you speak English, or like whatever language, And so, yeah, that's not really represented in video games well. And Miles Morales is one of them that does that. But there were a lot of really special moments in the game that make it was one of the best games I've played this year. So it's not a perfect game. Like I said, those issues really bug me. And I think they bug me more so because of just the amount of representation that is in the game is really, really cool. It's just not always done as well as it should be. And so I really hope, I say that because I want improvement, and I think that they can do it, and I think it's an easy fix, and I don't think it's something that they necessarily meant to do, because I love the people over at Insomniac, and, I'm excited to see where they go next. And so, Spider-Man 2, you cannot come any faster. I don't know what the proper way to phrase that is, but I really want Spider-Man 2, so, yeah. And then, I've been playing Hades. I love it. I'll pop in, do a couple runs. Like, I'll, shut down my laptop, and I'll get on like an hour later. I'll do a couple more runs. It's just so addicting. I love it. I make obligatory Hades, like, I love Hades tweets all the time. And it's just, it might just be my game of the year at this point. I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, Hades might be my game of the year. It's so good. It's so, so good. I love it. I love it so much. It's just, I think it might be a perfect game. I think it might be a masterpiece. It might be one of the best games I've ever played. Yeah, go play Hades, guys. I cannot stress it enough. Go play Hades. It's so good. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Happy New Year. Hope you guys are safe, COVID-free, all that fun stuff, Be careful tonight if you're going out, doing that sort of thing. Be smart. Don't be stupid. Don't go to parties. Be safe. All that fun stuff. I will see you guys in 2021. All right, see ya.